Hi guys, it's Claire. I'm back with some videos for you today for Craft Stash. They've kindly sent me this time some lovely dies from Fuzzy Lemon. We've got a gorgeous dove die, which cuts out the dove, and also this little sprig as well you get, which is really nice. We've got a lollipop tree die, which cuts out obviously the lollipop tree. This is really nice, a gorgeous intricate die that I'll show you in the card that I'm going to be making, where we cut out the flowers individually as well and pop those up. And then lastly they've sent me the champagne glass die, which is this one here, which has bubbles in there that they cut out separately so you can reposition them or use them off the glass if you want to. So yeah, I'm going to be making 6 cards for you today with this stuff, 2 videos. The first 2 videos are focusing purely on the champagne glass. So I'm doing 2 quite full cards. One of them is actually going to be a shaker card using just this die. And then in video number 2, I'll use these 2 dies to make 4 other cards. Slightly more simple, but still within the same theme and still complementing each other nicely. So we'll crack on with video number 1, as I say, using this die here. Now I've gone ahead and pre-prepared some of the card making steps just to save time for you. I mean, the basic stuff like cutting out squares and things, you know, you don't need to see me sort of showing you how to cut out a square die cut. So I'm starting with a plain white card base. This is just a 148 by 148 square card base. And I've cut down a piece of gold cardstock that is 14 by 14, so 140 by 140 centimetres. So that fits on there nicely on the front. Now the next thing I've done is I've cut out a square. Now this square fits nicely inside my gold one, and it's actually a die. I used a Sue Wilson die to do that, but any die would do, or if you don't have a die, you could obviously just cut a square. And then I've gone ahead and die cut 2 of the champagne glasses out of there. So simply run it through my machine once, then twice, and I've saved the glasses because we'll use those on the next card. But for a minute, this is going to be our shaker card. And yeah, and we've now made these little champagne glass apertures in there. So put these bits to one side for a minute. To make our shaker card, what we need to do is turn this over and stick some acetate on the back. So I've cut down a piece of acetate so it's going to fit in there quite nicely. So I'm going to run some red sticky tape all the way around on the back of here and stick that acetate on there. Okay, so that's my tape in position. I am going to give that a bit of a push down with my bone folder, just so that it lays nice and flat. And then we need to take the time to just release all that sticky. I mean, this is probably the most time consuming part of the card. Actually, no, I lie. Probably when we come to do foam pads in a minute, that's going to be just as time consuming. But other than that, shaker cards are actually really simple to make, and you should give them a go. They look so effective. Okay, so before I get too much of a sticky mess, I'm going to stick my acetate down on top of there. Okay, so that's given me now my acetate window. It is always very static, so it will pick up any bits of fluff or bits of card that are on your desk, so just be careful to keep this nice and clean. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is pop foam pads all the way around here. Now our foam pads do need to be a continuous piece of foam pad so that when you put your shaker elements inside, they do stay where they're supposed to be. Now I'm happy with just going all the way around the glasses in a square, and you know, I'm wasting a little bit of space here, but it doesn't really matter. I'm using these teeny tiny little beads that will sort of, you know, reposition themselves sort of in and around the glasses anyway. So I think I'm just going to do a square and then fill in a little bit of a gap there. But yeah, so this is the bit that is a bit time consuming, is popping all these foam pads on. So I think I'll pause the video and come back to you when it's all done. Okay, so I'm back. That is a little bit time consuming to do that, but as you can see, I've made a walled area around my champagne glasses. It does lead through from one to the other, but that's fine. And then filled in this whole area with foam pads. Now I was using a sticky sheet like this, which obviously got these dots on. I'm sure we've all got them. And I've used a big chunk of it here, used some of the dots, and then cut the edges into strips as well, just to use up what I've got. I know you can buy rolls of thin sticky strip, but you know, this just uses up what I had. So now, next thing to do is peel off all the release paper everywhere. So that's that job done. So next is a case of tipping in little beads. I've got these tiny little, I can't remember what they're called. Is it sand beads? I think they might be. So I'm going to tip some of those into where my champagne glasses are. Now you'll note very quickly I haven't peeled off the top of all of these foam dots because it doesn't really matter. The whole thing is going to be sitting onto a piece of cardstock, and obviously that still gives you the dimension, but it doesn't need to be sticky because there's enough sticky around anyway. So yeah, carefully now put in our little beads. Oh, it's seed beads, isn't it? I just remembered the name. I'm just guessing how many I'm going to need here. Okay, we'll go with that, I think. Now this obviously is going to go on the front of our card. This is the next piece that's behind it, but it's very hard to stick this on and line it up. It's impossible to get that straight. So what I generally do is cheat. So I've got another piece of gold that I've just cut down that is just big enough to cover up the champagne glass area. So now it enables me to pick this up, turn it over, and then stick it onto the main piece of gold card. So obviously again, I can add some more sticky here, just to make sure this sticks in place. So very carefully turn it over, hoping that all the beads don't escape. We might get one or two, but that's okay. And stick that down onto our gold piece. Perfect. Look, there were a few little escapees as I turned it over, but that's okay. But as you can see now, we've made a really fun shaker card. It looks like champagne in the bottom of the glasses and all the bubbles fizzing up. I really like that, really, really good. Okay, so that's well stuck down, plenty stuck down. Next job is to do a sentiment for this card. Now you could obviously easily stamp a sentiment on here. I'm actually being slightly lazy and I've got this celebrate word, which I think is actually a Heidi Swapp word. I've had this for ages in my stash, but I'm just going to use it up. So I'm just simply going to peel this off and stick it on top here. But yeah, you could stamp, you could put a little tag on there. You know, there's many things that you can do, but just for speed, I'm going to stick this celebrate on top of there. I'm going to stick that across there. Now I like the way that this fits into the glasses and goes up on the glass. I actually really, really like that look. And then last step, simply just to finish it off, is to stick it onto our card base. And that is it. How simple is that? It couldn't be more simple. So just flat stick that down. Like so. And that's it, card number 1 done. Really, really good. And it's a shaker card. As I say, I cheated a bit by using this sticker, but you know, you could stamp that or do anything there, but really, really like that. It's brilliant. Really impressed with that card. Okay, moving on to card number 2. So this time, again, it's going to be a simple card, but let the dies do the talking. We don't need to do a great deal more. So these are the champagne glasses that we cut from our shaker card. This was obviously the inside part that I, just haven't used, so I kept it to one side. So I'm just going to poke out those bubbles. You could use those little tiny bubbles. They're gorgeous little tiny dots that's giving you there, but I'm not for this card. You just poke them out and get rid of those. Now this is another really easy card, and again I've die cut some pieces ahead of time just to save a little bit of time. So I've got my 2 champagne glasses die cut. I've cut out a stitch circle die, but again any circle would do, and I've cut out a plain gold circle which is a bit bigger, just to go around the edge. Any circle dies you've got will do that. Now I'm going to flat stick this white circle onto the gold one. But instead of lining up perfectly, I'm actually going to offset it. It looks a little bit more designy. It looks like I've done that, I've done that intentionally. Had a bigger gold area at the top than I have at the bottom. Then my champagne glasses are just going to sit just on here. I want to make sure that they look quite a good position. So I want the stems touching, or the bottoms touching. The glasses just touching here. I still want to try and keep the bottom of this stem in position. Now I want to flat stick this one, so I'm going to glue that one in position. So just checking position again. Maybe move it over to the side just a fraction, about there. So keeping this in that circle, I like that look. And this one I want to be raised up on foam pads, so pop some foam pads on the back of there. Now I'm not going to try and get foam pads up that stem because obviously it's too tiny, so you just end up getting in a sticky mess. On, I think about there, so I've got it overlapping on the stem, overlapping on the glass, a little bit higher so it looks nice, and I'm happy with that. Now I've got a card base already pre-scored and ready to go, and I'm going to stick this down onto my card base. I don't know if I want that raised or flat. I think I'm going to raise that up actually, so let's pop some foam pads on the back of there. Okay, so just position that in the middle of our card. About there. And then it's time for the sentiment. So again, you could stamp, you could put a tag, you could put anything on there, but I'm using another sticker from that Heidi swap set that I had, just to stick on there and make my life simple. Off and pop that. I think I want it going just onto the stem of the glass. Yep. And pop that just there, and that's it. I'm calling that card done. Really easy, simple, clean and simple, very smart looking, very modern, very elegant, and just, yeah, as I said, the dies do the talking. That's enough of a statement on that card to make it look good. So that's it. That's my first 2 cards for you, the shaker one and the simple, sort of very smart looking one, using the champagne glass dies. And I shall be back in video number 2 doing 4 more cards for you that complement these but using 2 different dies. See you very soon. Bye.